Now, welcome to part 2 of our 5-part series of the 5 warning signs before moving to Florida. So right now I am in City Island Park over in Sarasota, Florida, and I live here. I'm a real estate agent. My name's Maciek Zaremba. If you have any questions about anything real estate, drop it in the comments. Right now behind me there's like a festival going on, and it's lively, and there's a bunch of food trucks out there. But let's get into this. What is the second thing I want to warn you about? Hurricanes, natural disasters, floods, tornadoes. You know, most people don't know that we do get some hurricanes once in a while. Depends where you live, really. The East Coast gets more hurricanes than the West Coast, but they do come around pretty much anywhere in Florida. So as someone who lives here full time, what you'll notice eventually is that the bark is louder than the bite. What I mean by that is sometimes dogs bark a lot, but then they don't ever bite you. And that's kind of how it is with hurricanes. We get warnings on TV to stock up with supplies and everything. And for some reason, you know, half the state gets the warning, but a small little area actually gets hit. And then when they do get hit, it doesn't mean that there's major damage. It really depends on where you live, how close to the coast, and then what the wind speeds are at that point, what flood zone you're in. This all matters. And the construction, the year of construction, the type of construction you have. You know, in 32 years of living in Florida, I have only known one person to have had their roof blown off. Now, if you're going to be living in a mobile home or something like that, the chances are going to be much greater of that happening. But overall, I'd say don't worry too much about it, because us locals, what we do is we party. That's right, we have a hurricane party, especially when you're in your 20s. That's kind of what ends up happening. But it's nothing to scoff at. Hurricanes are serious, the floods are serious, and sometimes, you know, you see the worst of the worst when it comes to the footage, and usually those are multi-million-dollar mansions on the beach, on the waterfront, that end up getting ruined. But let's go into the second part of this topic, which is the floods. Depending on which way the hurricane is spinning, sometimes the water gets taken away from your area, sometimes there's a lot of water dumped into your area, and therefore the floods happen. Like in Hurricane Ian, September 2022, not too far from us, Port Charlotte and Cape Coral got a lot of water dumped onto them, and places that were not in flood zones got flooded. So is it important to have flood insurance? Yeah, if you do not have the cash to repair everything, I highly recommend it, because a flood, even if it comes from a hurricane, if it's rising water, that's not covered by your insurance company. So go get flood insurance. Actually, if you're in an ex-flood zone, which is basically not required to have flood insurance if you have a loan, well, your flood insurance policy is going to be relatively inexpensive to those in the AB flood zone, or anything worse than that, even lower elevation, where you really have a great chance of having a flood. Wow, look at this beautiful place here. I really love living in Sarasota. I'm telling you, this is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to, and I have been across the world. Now, a couple other points I just want to mention about natural disasters in Florida. A little less common are, first of all, sinkholes. They happen mostly in the center of the state, but yes, indeed, this is a problem. So look up the sinkhole map. I'll put this on the screen right now. Look up where all the sinkholes happen, and you'll notice that it's really like, you know, 75% of all sinkholes happen in 3 counties in Florida. Now, the last thing I'm going to mention are tornadoes, and tornadoes can happen pretty much anywhere in Florida, and they do happen. I have seen tornadoes, but once again, I've never known anybody who's been affected by them. Just like sinkholes, I've never known anybody who's been negatively impacted by sinkholes or tornadoes. Okay, now stick around. Our next video, just 4 minutes long, just like this one, is about the condo fees. This is a huge warning. You know, some things are good, some things are bad, but condo fees are going out of control. You really need to know what's happening here. I've made numerous videos about them specifically, but this short video coming up right now is going to tell you what to watch out for.